This is 9270984, and this is part 2 of my video for ScaredGirls Almost Unupped False God Mode. So yeah, this is part 2 of the video. I just played my Eternity, and now I'm running off rewinded skeletons so I don't deck out. Actually, I'm not running off them yet. Now I'm running off them so I don't deck out. But the only way you can deck out with this is if you forget to rewind a skeleton, which I have done and I do it kind of frequently, or bottom decking Eternity. And what that means is having Eternity as the last deck in your card, so you can't rewind anything and you're forced to deck out, which I've had that happen to me once or twice with this. But yeah, after you get all your cards out, what you do is you create fireflies with the Firefly Queen, and eat your opponent's creatures if you can, and if your opponent has no creatures, then you use the rely off the Firefly Queen to provide fodder for your Odiodes. And the skeletons also make good mutation fodder from the Fallen Elf, so that's also a plus. But remember to always keep one skeleton playing to rewind it. And how I do this is the first thing I do on my turn is I play a skeleton and I rewind a skeleton. But, yeah, this is pretty boring. I'm not gonna really end up talking about the deck that much at this point because there's not much more to talk about. So I'm just gonna talk about random element stuff. Yesterday, chat in the forums was down for like 10 minutes, and that's the longest I've seen it go down. I don't know what's up with that. I'm not very learned in that area, so I don't really know exactly what happened, but it did lag for a long time. And it crashed every minute or two, totally, so. And that's, I think, the second time ever I've seen the forums go down. The other time was like for 30 seconds or whatever, and this time was for like 2 minutes. But yeah, Miracle just played the card Miracle, which it has a bunch of copies of, and that's why False God's called Miracle. And it's really annoying, and it makes this deck even slower than it already is, because it just heals him back up to 199 health, no matter where he was at before that. So yeah, it just takes a long time. But yeah, I'm thinking about possibly doing a series just of each gravity card and a good deck with it, just because I'm in gravity trials and I want to try and learn gravity more. And I was lagging a little bit here, so I put it on low quality just to see how fast it would go, or I put it on medium quality or something. I lowered the quality, that's the important thing. But yeah, it was on low, because you didn't see any animations there or anything, and I kinda like animations, so I can see what's happening, so I switch it back up to medium. But yeah, I'm definitely thinking about doing that series about each gravity card and basing a deck off it, so you can, if you want, give me a little feedback on that. But yeah, I'm also waiting for the next phase, or phase 1 actually, or whatever phase is after signing up of trials to start, because I was really happy when I got home from school today, because it was supposed to end at like 5, and X-Dude, who's the trial overseer, he hasn't been on to update it, so I'm kind of anxious about that, but that's just kind of how I am. But yeah, I'm still taking forever to beat Miracle. And another really helpful upgrade in this deck that you don't need it, but it speeds it up a lot, is to upgrade the Fallen Elf into a Fallen Druid. Because the Fallen Elf right now, when you mutate stuff, it's a 50% chance to become a super mutant, I think, a 25% chance for it to turn into Abomination, and a 25% chance to kill it. And once you upgrade it to Fallen Druid, it has just 100% chance to turn into a mutant, and that'll help you so much. But I've also had times where the Unupped Fallen Elf has helped me by either killing or turning one of my opponent's really strong creatures into an abomination. So, each one has its pros and cons, but I think the Fallen Druid is a lot better, and it's worth the upgrade. I also, at one point, I ran a version of this deck, and I added a Miracle in, just to help me gain more score if I didn't, or just to help me survive if I was low on health against one of the harder false gods with this deck. But, yeah, this deck is really, really long, or really slow, and really boring. And I just got a lucky mutation there, which will help it speed up, and I got a golden imp with a skill mutation, so I can get twice the mutations per turn, which should speed this deck up some. And the only really good way to beat Miracle now is to either outdeck him, which is really long, or just power through his miracles, which when I've used an Ray of Light Hope deck, and sometimes I just powered through his miracles, he usually only plays 3 or 4, usually 3, and sometimes he just plays 2, so you can usually power through him with a good 6 or 7 dragons. So I usually stop fractaling Ray of Lights after I get 13 out, because at that point I can play 1 dragon a turn. And yeah, that's just my personal version of that. But I haven't used that in a while, and I sold it, which was probably kind of stupid. I sold it to get a USEM, which is a really fast, really good Elemental Mastery deck for AI3, and I used that for a while, but then, I don't know why, but I'm not the smartest now to sell my decks, but I sold that to buy the new False God Voodoo deck, which I love, so that's cool. But yeah, I finally finished it. It took 25 turns and 13 minutes, so, but I did win an upped card, because with Shakars, which is a new False God Voodoo deck, it only takes about a minute to win, so. But that's upgraded, and this isn't, so.